Don't worry, the boss is a reasonable man. Most of the time. How could he not be? He's my dad.
Alright, everybody, welcome back to my channel. I told y'all that, I don't know if y'all follow me on Twitter now, but I told y'all I was starting the podcast. This is kind of, we'll consider this like a rough draft of what's to come, just because I don't have a bunch of equipment for it and everything. But regardless, today's subject, and ironically enough, is Father's Day. So, I'm not sure if you all know. I don't know if you've ever heard my story, or if we've been friends before. If you haven't noticed uh, anything about me and my dad's relationship, personally, is better than it was. So let's kind of start off at the beginning. I don't want to go too far because it's literally a lot. It's like 13 years worth of like certain problems that I can really sum it up even faster than that, and then get on to the good stuff as well. So pretty much. Um, it took my dad a long time to, become a dad, become a father, whichever the one it is that, a man's supposed to earn when they have kids. I don't know exactly which one it is, um, because I don't call my dad father. I call him dad, daddy, pops, things of that nature. But back then, um, I didn't like my dad growing up because when you a young man and you have a kid to save somebody else's relationship or even your own, it don't really work out the way that you would like it to all the time. And I'm sure there's reasons for the things that my dad's done in the past, but of course it's not an excuse, as you all would say, which of course is not. But I don't get caught up on it too much. Pretty much, he used to pretty much just he used to like he literally just like it would be something small, and then I was getting beat for it, like because I used to suck my thumb a lot when I was a kid too, so I used to get beat for that. You know, if I was getting into a fight or something, I didn't get in trouble for it. He was there. That's my boy. Because of course, when you done beat everybody up in the neighborhood, and then your son doing the same thing, how could you not be proud of him? And a twisted sense. But then again, he used to beat on my mom and stuff too, which of course, like I'm saying now, it doesn't really affect us. We're kind of past that. It's like this is years ago, guys. Like I think I was in 7th grade the last time my dad ever put his hands on either me or my mom. So like, and partly the reason is because they ended up splitting up after that time, and I really wasn't hanging around him like that. So never got the chance to. But then again, he had 3 daughters in a row, and I know that had to calm him down quite a bit. But yeah, enough of that. This guy is something else, though. Pretty much, it took him to have 3 daughters, and then and really have to be, and not with the same woman either. Like I got 3 siblings, with my dad's girlfriend, and then I got 2 siblings with my we all got the same mom, but we don't play that half step side children junk around here. They my brothers and my sisters, so yeah, we ain't on that. It's only love right here. Anyways, he had 3 daughters in a row, so I know when he started clearing his act up, stopped going to jail. Cause man, me and my brother Uriel literally, we had to raise each other because he was always in jail, and my mama had to have 3-4 jobs just to take care of us. And then when my sister was born, they just only got worse. But he ended up going to jail one last time, having another daughter after Kendall and Jaden, and I guess it calmed him down, which is a good thing. Of course, stuff like that. You grow up getting abused, getting beat for small things, getting hit with different objects because, they don't like what you're doing. Um, of course, that's gonna bring some strife in between, relationship. Like I literally did not forgive my dad for any of that stuff until I turned 18. I was like going on 19. So that was like, so if we being head ass here, from age 6 to age 18, it's about 13 years almost. I think, yeah, it's about 13 years because I wasn't 19 yet. So it was like 13 years of our relationship being trash, and then growing out of that and actually having conversations with each other. That was it was pretty cool. Like I remember forgiving him, telling him I loved him that time, and he literally, like, when he, like, my dad really, like, he's not like a very like sensitive person, like, endearing person. So when he said, I love you back, son, that, of course that's going, oh, my dad loved me. That's hard. I grew up with my dad in the house, but I didn't grow up with my dad. And I know a lot of people don't even have that. So I'm just thankful to God that I even had a dad in the first place. But then after him, my mom started dating this guy, and he eventually became my stepdad. Um, so I got two men in my life that if I wanted to, I could call them dad. So I know a lot of people don't even have one, bruh. Crap. Either they don't even have a father, like their father was never there, or they was there and they passed away, something, tragic like that. Most people have that. I had a dad, a stepdad, I had both grandfathers, and I had a bunch of uncles growing up, that, could be a man in my life. So I'm thankful for that. Like I'm like very grateful to, have a man in my life growing up. Like anywhere I looked, there was a man there that I could look up to, and they would teach me different things, stuff of that nature. And I know some of my friends, some of my cousins, they dads in jail, never getting out. They don't really talk to them because they mom, kind of like made sure that they wouldn't having any type of relationship with their dad. Of course, this is not no, look down on moms type junk. Like it, certain people's circumstances can definitely bring about, those options that women choose to not have a relationship, no co-parenting, like any of that. Like y'all don't understand. Like I'm sure y'all do. I'm just saying that because that's just a placeholder word. But I guarantee you that people are still like that. That's not gonna change. Like that's not gonna change. That's literally like I don't want to peg it as the same thing, but it's like racism always being a thing. There's always gonna be some reason for the woman to not want to, let her son or her kids have a relationship with their dad. Like it could be many things, but enough of that. I've had like my Uncle Joe or my Uncle Sherman or my Uncle Anthony, my Uncle Gary. They were always in our life. Like both sides. I've had uncles on both sides. Like my Uncle Sherman on my dad's side, and all those other uncles, Anthony, Gary, like them, like they're on my mom's side, and then my Uncle Joe, who I really looked up to and adored. I love that man. He taught me, Uriel, and my cousin Dante, everything from gardening to how to treat a woman, and then that was only fortified on my mom's side, how to love your family, how to be endearing to your father, how to actually have a relationship with him whenever you get the chance, things of that nature. And so that's how I knew that, you know, having a man in your life as a young man growing up, like that can really change you. It doesn't change who you are because you gotta still make the choice. But having all the men in my life was amazing. Like my Uncle Joe went, like, it was sad for me because when my Uncle Joe passed away, he didn't go out in his sleep. He was like, he went out in pain, and I'm like, this great man went out in a terrible way, and it hurt my feelings because I'm like, dude, he ain't never did nothing wrong. At least, from what I know, of course, he never did nothing wrong to me, not in my eyes. And even when he disciplined us when we were doing something wrong, or swatting at butterflies while we helping them garden and stuff, I'm like, this man real life went out in pain, and that hurt me because I didn't know that he passed away until I was in like Washington D.C. because originally I'm from Tennessee, and I go see him before I go on this trip with my school, and the second day I'm there having fun with all these new people, like these other kids and stuff, like we're turning up, we're on the yacht, all this stuff. And then we go to Dick's one day, the freaking, it's like the male Hooters, or the like something like that, where they're like jackasses toward you. I go there, and then as I'm leaving, my cousin texts me. He's like, "Yo, Uncle Joe passed," and I'm just like, "What? You're lying." No, this man really passed, and that hurt me because I'm like, the main man in my life that showed me how to be a young man, how to, build on respect, things of that nature, he's gone. I'm never going to get to talk to him again. I'm never going to see him again. Like, that junk was always, it hurt me a lot because, it's your uncle. It's like, this dude is the most amazing man I ever met in my life. He's just gone. So that junk always, it always got me. I'm like, I ain't going to ever see this man again. Then my Uncle Sherman, it's my cousin Dante's dad. Their relationship ain't always been fire, like, but every time one of our dads, if my uncle was going back to Afghanistan, or if my dad was going to jail or going to prison, they would take the responsibility of the other one, and that, that's awesome too, because you're taking care. Like my Uncle Sherman at the time, he just had Dante, so when my dad would go to jail or prison or something like that, things of that nature, for however many months or years, he would step in and take care of me, Uriel, and Dante. And then same thing with my dad. He would take care of me, Uriel, and Dante. With my Uncle Sherman and Dante's parents would go over back to Afghanistan because they were in Desert Storm. He's an army brat. So I always thought that, you're taking the responsibility of somebody else. And it's not because it's like, oh, you have to. It's more because their relationship was as good as it was, to where, hey, bro, I got you. The little that I can do, I'm going to do for your kid when you're not around. And you do the same for me, type junk, right? So, to me, that's what being a man is. Like, I guess, I guess that's I'll say that's part of what being a man is to me. And, being a father too, like, because of course, we didn't grow up, neither of us had good relationships with our dads. But they did stuff with us that they could. And it's not like they had a bunch of like great examples. Like my dad and my uncle had my Uncle Joe. That was their example of who, like, what a man could be. But then again, they're already old enough to make their own decisions. Like my dad decided he wanted to be a gangster. He wanted to, be a drug dealer, things of that nature. And then my Uncle Sherman decided to follow my grandfather's footsteps and, go to the army, become a veteran real quick, like that. So you're not really at home with your kids because you're too busy, doing what the government wants you to do, or doing what the neighborhood wants you to do on some like, mindset like that. So, they'll get tidbits from here and there. But yeah, that's literally what it is. And then on my mom's side, I'm very close with them. We all, like, we literally we grew up in church with them and stuff. Every freaking family reunion, every time it was Christmas, we was going from Tennessee to Michigan, Kentucky, like everywhere. Like, I was always around my mom's side because, I live with my mom, of course. And, we brought Dante in too because it's not like he had a bunch of family on his mom's side that could, help him out. He just had my dad's side. But yeah, that's just how it is, bruh. Like, the different men in my life that shaped me, like, it's a bunch. Like, it's not even just them. Like, those are just a few. Like, the main one that's, taught me stuff, surprisingly enough, is my stepdad and my current pastor, Pastor Ione. I've been going to this church for about 6 years. No, about 7 or 8 years now. I think in 2 years, I'll have been going there for 10 years. So about 8 years now. But I left like when I graduated high school. I dipped. I like went back to Columbia. I didn't stay in Nashville. So I just dipped. I came back. It was a whole new pastor, and for the last 5 years, he's taught me so much stuff, dude. He's given me so much advice, like stuff that you can't talk to your parents about, or you don't feel comfortable talking to your parents about. Shoot, sometimes it could be about your parents, and he just gave me all types of advice and stuff, things of that nature about that. Um, so I got a lot of men in my life that have helped me, shape me into becoming the man that I am. So, I'm very grateful for all that. Of course, I got, a bunch of older cousins, that teach me certain things. Not stuff that, a man could really, should be teaching a young person. But then again, they were young too. It's not like they were like 30 plus years old, 30 plus years older than I am. If anything, they're like 5, 6 years older than me. So I just that's pretty much that. I just want to say I meant to say this at the beginning in the first place, but shout out to all the dads, bruh. Shout out all the dads that's out here doing their job, and shout out the ones that aren't doing their job, but they know what they need to be doing. Bruh, you still got time. You still got time. Like, it's never too late to say goodbye. It's never too late to change the tides, neck ass. But nah, bro, for real, like, men,
I'll do my best.
like, I literally read a book about raising a modern day knight. It's an awesome book. It's a Christian book. I don't know if y'all know by now, but I'm Christian, guys. Don't look down on me. Who cares, anyways? I'm not doing this to just throw like my religion in y'all face. I'm just telling y'all straight up stuff. It was awesome. Like, it was pretty much like the right passage. Like, these men were, like, it was like 3 men, and they took their sons and took them through some, not necessarily trials, but really giving them big examples on what being a man is, being a father, things of that nature. Like, even like one of them, like this one, I thought was so crucial that I literally started applying this to my life. Like, as soon as I read it, he pretty much was saying like him and his son were just going out there because they would go fishing each year, and whoever brought the biggest fish, I think it was like the first week or so before the season start, like before like when the season started, they get a prize or whatever. So they're fishing and stuff, not doing jack, just having a good time, just having some good like bonding time, like with a father and a son. And pretty much this man's son straight up got the biggest fish in the lake that they were ever gonna get. Like, nobody, like, it was big to the amount that nobody was gonna like beat them type junk. Like, it was that serious. And I thought it was funny because he was like, "Oh, Dad, we did this and that," and his dad looked at his watch on his clock and was like, "Wait a second," and he looked. It was still 2 hours left before the season actually started. So y'all know what this man dad made him do? This man dad made him throw the fish back in the lake. And he said, "We gotta." It was pretty much saying like it was pretty much a lesson on integrity. So he was like, "Yeah," he was like, we can't do this. It's not fair. Like, I know you got it and you're happy, this and that, but you excuse me, you can't." So this man was talking about, he was like, "Yeah, and at that time I knew that being a man is not as easy. Like, you could get a 1-up and it still not be easy for you." So he said 30 years later, this man never found that fish again. He said he's never found another fish of that size ever again in that lake. So he was like, being real, like being a real man, bruh, is not easy. It's not fair all the time. Like me personally, if my girlfriend needs something from me, bruh, I'm gonna do it. Like that's just how I am. Like I want to cater to my girlfriend. I want to marry my girlfriend type junk, right? But it does not matter, bro. Like I would sacrifice so much, and that's just how it is. And it's not like, oh, this is a chore. Like even saying like I love you and stuff. I'm gonna say that junk, bro. That's just how I am. I say it to my friends. People think I'm crazy for it. I don't care. But yeah. So, damn, bro. At this point, I feel like I'm rambling, and I'm really not even making sense. But it don't matter, bro. This podcast is low key boo boo. It's the first one. I don't care. I'm having a good time. I done talked for 20 minutes, so it's lit. But yeah, like even me, what my dad thought was good when he was like, disappearing for a while because he would, be in jail or prison, one of the two. He would always try to get me one thing that I always wanted. Of course at the time you a kid, and I'm a nerd, like I'm a big nerd too, like I'm like a real big nerd to the point where I literally would add like the one I didn't care for pretty much like quality time with my dad, like because it was always weird. It was like he was always trying to be hard and stuff. So quality time with my dad was him buying me a video game and then watching me play, for like an hour or so. Like I remember like one time he got out of jail, and this was like when everything was good for a year. I think this was like, I don't know if I was in like fifth or sixth grade or so, but I remember he came back and this man got me Star Fox. I don't remember what Star Fox it was. It was on the GameCube, and it was where you could like play multiplayer, like four players split screen against each other and like hop on each other's wings of the freaking like Land Rovers and in the jets. But I remember him buying me that and then him watching me and my younger brother play that game, bro. That was awesome to me. Cause he didn't, he wasn't really a video gamer back in the day. My uncle was, but my dad wasn't at all. He was used to being outside the house, driving to and from Illinois, Indianapolis and things of that nature. And I was just like, bruh, that was cool to me. Like that's all I needed was this man to just watch me play the game. I not really care about nothing else. So that's what he did. He would always get us one thing that we really wanted or something. I remember the first time me and him gave each other a hug after I had ended up forgiving him. Like that was amazing enough to me because I'm like, bro, like he's not. My dad not really affectionate towards us. Like he wanted us to be tough boys and stuff. So me, I'm like, hey dad, I love you. He said it back. I gave him a hug, and I was just like, bruh. So this is what it feel like to get a hug from your dad. Like it's like small stuff like that, just small stuff. It's like literally nothing that could take that could say like oh that ain't nothing. Well, when you're getting whooped with race car tracks for sucking your thumb, brother, a hug is definitely heat. I don't care what nobody talking about. But yeah, another thing, like I remember after seventh grade, like when my parents split, um, I didn't trust no man, bruh. Like all my uncles and stuff, like my grandparents, like both my grandfathers, like on both sides, like I did not want to hear nothing they said, cause like dude, your dad is your dad. Like if you got your dad in your house and he just goes like above and beyond what he does some crazy stuff, you're not finna be respecting no man, bro, because you living with him every day. So you just thinking, I was young too, so I'm like, bro, all these men think they got all the answers. They don't know a thing, bro. Like I can't trust none of them, so I'm lashing out. getting in more fights. My mom's dad, I remember bucking up against him, and I'm like 5'6". This man was like 6'3". He's like 6'3", and I was bucking up against him like, no, this, like going running at the mouth like an idiot, and like it was bad. Like I would like be crying like so hard, like bro, I can't trust none of y'all. I can't trust none of the dudes in my life that taught me anything. Like y'all don't got nothing for me. I was a big old, I was a big old brat back then. But you know, things happen. These things happen all the time, bro. Like I know I'm not the only person this junk done happen to, and if you've gone through it, I promise you, bro. Like if you like really, like straight up, bro, if you literally like prayed about the situation, and this ain't no religious junk. I'm just saying, like if you really like prayed about the situation, and then you really sat down and had a conversation with your dad, I guarantee you, bro. I guarantee you that y'all could talk y'all things out. And I know a lot of people's dads ain't open. Like my dad was definitely not open, bro. He was not open for a while. Like we would literally, even after I forgave him, we literally was having conversations about stuff in the past, and it would get heated. It would get hella heated back then. Like it's not easy to talk to, you know, just go out there and try to have a conversation with your dad. It's not easy. Like even then, it's not easy to talk to your dad, of course, and then you're still kind of guarded because you had to go through the stuff that he put you through, and then you're trying to make the steps. Sometimes, you know, the parents try to make the steps, but I just happen to be the one to make the steps for my dad because, you know, he's thinking everything's all good, and we, you know, his tough boys. So that's just how that goes. But it don't really matter in the end, because all you gotta do is try to be open, and of course it's not gonna happen overnight. It didn't happen overnight for me. If anything, I was contemplating it at 17, but then again I was contemplating suicide at the same time because I felt like I didn't need to be in the world anymore, because, you know, I was like so depressed and stuff back then, and then, you know, stuff started just going good for me out of nowhere, so I was really shook. And then I got kicked out of where I was living at in Colombia, and yeah, you know, things of that nature. So I was just like down and out. Moved back in with my parents, and it wasn't, you know, I didn't have a good time. I didn't have a good time pretty much. But yeah, so try to make the effort. Just try to make the effort, bro. Because if you try to make the effort, it's gonna work out for you in the end. But yeah, so we're at a halfway point. So now, honestly, we can kind of switch it over to my stepdad's side, right? You know, I do the bad stuff at first and then do the good stuff in the end. So let me just go ahead and do that. It's not really bad stuff. It's more confusion, if anything. Pretty much, my mom and my stepdad started dating maybe a year or two after my parents split. And, you know, you don't want nobody else dating your mom, bruh. You already know how that junk is. Don't even act like you don't. You know how it is. So, anyways, I didn't, of course, and, you know, for a good reason, because it was like, then again, it's like my mom young at the time. Shoot, she's still young now, but people still, you know, think she's my freaking sister or my girlfriend every time I go hang out with her and we go somewhere. So anyways, I think I was, like, my mom and my stepdad got together when I hit 8th grade. Like, they started hanging out and stuff then, but they started dating, I don't know if it was either 8th grade, like the end of 8th grade, or like my middle of my freshman year. Like, I think it was like the middle of my freshman year, because like, I mean, it wasn't like a lot of time didn't pass when my mom and my stepdad got together, like after my parents split. So, you know, whatever, it don't matter now. They're happily married. But anyways, I did not like my stepdad at first, 100%. because first off, it's not like, cause me, like I like having brothers and sisters, bro. Like I don't have the issue with him having other kids. It wasn't. It's like literally that has nothing to do with it. It was more, this man was real life trying to act like he was already our dad at first, um, and it was embarrassing to me. And I was just like, bro, you're not my dad. Don't even try to act like it. Like get out of my face. This and that. You know, typical nerd stuff. Not nerd stuff, jerk stuff. Like I was a jerk, but I think I had a reason to be. So I'm not really just gonna like shoot myself in the foot. Like I felt like I had a reason to be the way that I was towards him. Cause I'm like, bro, you're not my dad. Like you're just my mom's friend. And then it was, you're not my dad. You're just my mom's girlfriend. And they were together for a minute. Then my little brother Levi was born, and I was still like, bro, you're not my dad. You're just my mom's husband. And it was that way for a long time. Like, whoo wee, it was like that for a long time, boy. Like even now, it's not like he's still not my dad. I still call him Larry and things. Like I'm not finna, like, me personally, I'm just not gonna call him my dad because that's weird to me. Like I call him old man. I called him dad before, but it just feels so weird now. Like I'm a grown man. It feels so weird to be calling somebody else dad and they're not your dad type junk. Unless you know it's like an in-laws or things of that nature. Like that makes sense to me. But at the time I was like, bro, I don't want to hear nothing you gotta say. Why you got so many kids? I was just being a jerk then. But yeah, like it wasn't really, it did not have a good relationship at first. At all. But things changed by the time I hit like 15. It's like a year and a half later. So everything, you know, it got good. Of course, you know, typical stuff like I'm still living with him. Of course, I'm in school. So you know, I don't know, bro. I really just like, now that I'm like really looking back, I've been looking back at it every once in a while. I was like a jerk, bro. Like I was like a huge jerk to this man. Like he was like the greatest thing that happened to my mom, low key. Like no cap, this man was like the greatest thing that happened to my mom. And of course, it's weird to say that because you know I got a dad, but let's be real. Like my parents' relationship was toxic as hell. Like my mom was out here selling drugs for this man. Like it was definitely a toxic relationship. And of course, you know, it's got, you know, abuse and stuff involved. But with him, it was different. It was more, if you say something crazy to my mom, me and Uriel gonna jump you. Like that's literally how it was, bro. Like, and I can say that now because that's just how it was at the time, bro. I ain't got nothing to be scared about. That's exactly how it was. And that's not going to change our relationship or nothing. Like, I could tell him this now. Like, yeah, me and Uriel would have jumped you back in the day, bro. Straight up. And he would have been like, yeah, I'm sure y'all would have. Like, you know, I wouldn't have been going or nothing. Like, you would have been going, bro. On me. But anyways, I don't know why I'm feeling like this. I guess it's because like some other parts that I'm getting to is kind of like irritating me. Pretty much it went this way. We started living with him, and we had to leave my high school after I was a sophomore. Like sophomore year was the last year I was at this certain high school, and then after that, we moved to Nashville, so they couldn't keep driving us to and from Murfreesboro every day, for us to get to school and stuff. So I didn't really care. I was just like, new school, I can meet new people, I'm happy. Like, but at the end of the day, I really didn't want to. But then I met, some real good people at my new high school, so I wasn't really tripping in that much. But yeah, we had to leave that high school, and I was just like, bruh, why? Why we gotta change high schools? Cause y'all don't want to drive. Like I told you, like I was being a big old jerk back then. And then again, we were still going to church like back then, but we stopped for a while. Because when we left Murfreesboro, we literally stopped going to church all the time. We stopped going to this church called Peyton Road. It's like out in Lebanon. And then we also we also stopped going to this other church called Highway um, 231. That's out in Murfreesboro. And bro, it was just so weird because I'm just like, I don't care. Like, I didn't care because I like, bro, like I really wasn't, I didn't even believe in God at the time, anyways, bro. Like I didn't believe in God at all, and it was just so weird for me to even be going to church. Like I was like, God didn't do nothing for me. We getting beat up, this, and that, and then just because we're going to church, I'm supposed to just start believing. Like it was on that, to that nature. Um, but by the time we went to this new church, the church that I've been going to almost 10 years now. Of course that's gonna change. The tune's gonna change because I started, seeing God in my life type junk. So it really wasn't nothing too serious. So I'm going here. We're all going, and he, he started getting better at being a dad towards us. Like help raising us. Like he raised us, bro. Like I said, like my dad was in jail and prison and stuff, so he didn't really have the time to. But my stepdad, he definitely raised us. Though it's like one thing that I don't really like. I used to not like admitting, cause like, he's never gonna be my dad. I remember like my dad was talking big boy junk back then. He was like, "Oh, you look like you." Like me and him used to get in arguments all the time. Like when I was like 16, 15, cause I wasn't going. I was like, "Bro, I don't care if you beat me up. I'm gonna get some licks in." So I was just like, "Hey, ooh, Larry's a better dad than you are," and I ain't talked to him for like 6 months. And it didn't really hurt my feelings, bro. Honestly, it didn't, cause I was like, "Bro, this man doing a better job than you are," and I don't even like him. So we started going to church and stuff, and I started believing in God. So like around 16, but it was so weird, bro, cause like we're going to church, and then at home, my stepdad acting crazy. Like he wasn't acting crazy. It was more he was being like too. He was being like way too extreme. I'll say that. Like he ain't really put his hands on me like that growing up. He maybe like if we weren't playing or anything, he maybe put his hands on me 2 times. Like I'm gonna discipline you type junk. But other than that, he never really put his hands on me. So I remember he used to just be acting like we just heard the same preaching, this, and that. So like typical parents trying to get their kids to obey them, and it wasn't like I was like just hella like disobedient and stuff. It was more like my face is gonna tell you, and then my mouth is gonna tell you. But since they was my parents, my face was telling them more than anything, and then I was acting all nonchalant about it too. Like, bro, like you're tripping. Like I don't care about what you're talking about, and stuff like that. Um, so that went on for a while. Um, it was annoying because we would go there, and then I'm like looking at this man like, bro, like you're not always right. Some of the stuff you're doing is not right. And he, of course, at the time we was going to that church, and the pastor that was there, he was always on Larry's side. And then when I told them that I was hella depressed, or when I told them, my leg feels like it's shorter than the other, it was always brushed off. So of course, with the lifestyle that most millennials have, like they're gonna be depressed about something, right? Which I was. Like I was depressed because I'm like, bro, this is like when I started believing in God too. So this isn't after. I mean, this isn't before. Because I was already depressed before, believing in God. So me believing in God, and I could start to see certain things in my life that was making me feel this way, and I started trying to, I started trying to kick them down, stop doing certain things, and this man was making it worse. I was just sitting here like, bro, you're literally saying something and then acting a different way when we're at home. I was like, you're literally not a good example. You're not a good example of, what it is that you're saying. Like, you're a terrible example, actually. And that's just how that was, right? Um, we would literally get to arguing about dumb stuff, and then him and my mom would argue about stuff, and I'm just like, bro, if you say anything out of line with my mom, we gonna jump you. And that's on God. And, you know, that's just how that was. But move a little forward. I graduated high school because I wanted to do what I wanted, but I knew since I was living in Nashville, I wouldn't be able to. So I was just like, bro, I'm moving back to Columbia so I can play video games every day and go to college. And that's how that was. That's literally how that happened. Like, I literally ended up going back to college for 2 months and withdrawing because that oh my God, bro, this college literally lost my information 6 times. So I was definitely not happy about that. But anyways, going forward, we're literally there. You know, I ended up moving back. This is like when I was about to kill myself and stuff. So this was let's see. I think I was 17. So I was gone for about 10 months when I moved to Columbia. And then I ended up moving back to Nashville. I was like 17 going on 18. So honestly, everything was going good when I moved back this time. I was like my mom and them was always there for me. My mom knew I was hella depressed because she said she used to be like that too. Like, I still had panic attacks from time to time. She said, like, if something like used to overwhelm her, she wasn't able to do crap. That's like how I am. Like, if I'm stressed out or something, like, it'll literally, like, I feel like I can't breathe, feel like I need to get out of the situation. It could be like a literally simple conversation. If I don't like you, or if I don't like being around a lot of people, things like stuff like that. But anyways, he used to force me to try to do certain things, like, you know, go do this, like, go invite that person to church, and, like, you know, that's what our church is. But we don't force somebody. But yeah, so it was just weird, bruh. It was just weird. Like, I'm like, bro, I just got back. You're not finna force me. First off, I was like, you're not finna force me to go back to church. I already don't really feel like I should be at church no more. And, you know, of course, at that time, it was just because I was out of church. And I lost my virginity, too. So I really was like, yeah, I'm good on all that, buddy. I'm a grown man. I don't got to listen to you, this, and that. So that also goes into it as well. But it was weird. So I moved back to Columbia, and I started to see, like, I'm not going to be going outside no more because the people that's out here, they not good people. And then, like, I would go to church from time to time when I could. And then when that happened, you know, my pastor and his wife ended up coming because my other pastor ended up moving back to Arizona to take over a church out there. And then my pastor that's here now, he took over the church here. So, you know, we're going there. I got a good relationship with him. I got saved again. We all prayed over, like, my leg getting healed and stuff. And, you know, that was just awesome to me, bro. Like, he's like, that's why I said he's like a big influence on my life. But then again, still got my issues with my stepdad. He's like, I don't know. He always thought he was right even when he was wrong. It was like, Pastor, tell him this, and that. Let him know. And then my pastor would look at him and be like, and honestly, this is not an all the time thing. This is a sometime thing. He was like, bro, if I'm being honest with you, you're not really right. You're not explaining this right. You know, like I thought, like I already knew. And I was just like, bro, chill out. You're not always right. And somebody literally just told you that you aren't always right, and now you look dumb. But then again, there's another weird thing. He just stopped coming to church. When we got somebody that was gonna start singing too, because he was a song leader at the time, he just stopped coming to church. And I was like, bro, you're a weirdo. What do you mean you're not going to church no more? Like, y'all forced me to go here, and then I get saved and start coming for myself instead of y'all making me. And I'm like, bro, you're a weirdo. You're a weirdo. Like, I start getting saved, and then now y'all want to dip. Then my mom stopped coming, And then my little brother stopped coming. Then all of a sudden, bro, my whole family's not going to church no more. So I'm over here like, fam, this just ain't cool, bruh. This is not cool. You literally forced me to go to church, and then you stopped going to church, so I didn't talk to them for a good 2 years, bruh. And it wasn't because like, oh, they're not Christians anymore. Yeah, they switched up entirely overnight. Like, oh, we don't believe in God and Jesus no more type junk. We don't think that, I don't want to serve a God that wants us to be poor and broken. And I'm sitting over here like, what? I'm over here like, you're poor and broken. I said, the reason why you're poor now is because you're not on food stamps anymore. Because somebody gave y'all advice to say, hey, being a Christian means that God's going to provide for us, right? And they thought, well, not they, my stepdad thought, this is on him. It's on my mom too, because she followed him blindly. But we'll get that to another day. But we're literally here, and you thought in 2 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, that when you stop being on food stamps, and trust me, y'all, we used to have food all the time. Money was always an issue with my stepdad, so we had food all the time with food stamps each month. I'm talking about, y'all, talking about surplus, talking about big bags, talking about chips, talking about sandwich meat, cereal, milk, like all types of stuff you can cook, bro. We had it, vegetable, all that. We had all of it. As soon as they get off food stamps, we wasn't able to have all that. I didn't have a problem because I really wasn't eating good back then anyways. So I was just, chilling. I wasn't really just out here like, oh man, we ain't got no cereal. I'm finna go to my friend's house and find some food, nigga. And that's how that was. Like I was good. I was Gucci. But then that was the reason why you stopped coming. I think because you kept being so radical about it and being in people's face about being a Christian, that this man really was just like, nah, I can't be here no more because I'm not right. And then I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good, love and joy on my future, John. Fast forward a little bit. Nowadays it's weird because they're all like, oh, Grand Rising, because they're black, like they're like new Black Panthers. Him and my mom, they're like new Black Panthers or whatever. And then it was like Grand Rising, that junk, and hello brother, hello sister. Like I remember I brought my girlfriend to the house for the first time, and I would never bring a woman around my mom, a girl around my mom that I didn't think I was gonna marry or have a serious relationship with. This man gonna say some good evening, sister. I was finna fry this man. I was finna fry this man, bruh. I was like, cause you're going too far now. You're wilding. But now they don't believe. Like I remember they was like, oh yeah, we still believe in God, this and that. And then it became, oh, we believe in Allah. So I'm just over here like, bruh, y'all are switching up like crazy. I'm good, love. I'm good on that. So fast forward even more. Even though we're in the current time, let me tell you about the good stuff my stepdad's done for me. This man done taught me how to fix a car, change my oil, change my tire, change my brakes. He literally was paying us to cut the grass and stuff. Of people, because he had his own lawn care job. We used to always be up at night talking for hours. Like our whole family would be in there talking for hours on end about, different things, like different stuff, like subjects, like anything that came up during the week, we would talk about it and go from there. It was cool to me because all of us are in there. I'm halfway falling asleep, laying down on the kitchen floor, and we would always talk about different things. So it wasn't like we would be mad and then a couple weeks go by and we're still mad about the same thing. Like no, by Thursday, by Friday, we good. The relationship back solid. We all back close again, and we're ready for the next week. He's taught me how to, you know, save money up, stop buying certain things that I shouldn't be, things that I could buy later, stuff that I didn't need now. He helped me, with my first car. He bought the car for me and then let me pay him a fraction of what he paid. Like if I, if my car messed up, he was coming to find me. When my car messed up, this man came to my job at 10 o'clock at night to pick me up to take me home. Like it was literally like he's like done a lot of stuff for me, bruh. So I can't be mad at him for living the life that he lives now, because it's like you can't control somebody's life, bruh. And I'm not his dad, I'm not God, anything. I'm just a black man that's Christian, bro. I'm just a son that listens. Bars. Um, but yeah, like all these men that I've had in my life, I've only hit on these two. The good and the bad. Bad first and the good after. But that's pretty much it. Like I said in the beginning, happy Father's Day. I'm grateful for all the men that's in my life. I hope y'all are the same with the men that are in y'all life. Even the ones that, ain't doing right, there's always time to change, bro. Ain't nobody 80 years old. Ain't nobody 90 years old. At that time, you can't move enough to you know, make changes in your life. So if you have somebody in your life that's ever been a father to you, you cherish them, bro. Because when they gone, they gone. And you can say they looking down on you from heaven, but boy, you don't know that. And I'm not saying this because I'm like, oh, I know. Because like, no, I'm saying like you don't know. Live depending on their lifestyle, they could be down below, bro. So like I'm saying, I'm telling y'all, it does not matter if you can make the chance to change a relationship that you got with your father, your dad, if you can get in touch with them, or if you have anybody that is in your life right now, bruh, that's a father figure to you or somebody that you look up to, tell them you love them now. Tell them that you're listening to them. Tell them that, I'm not right all the time and you've guided me, so I'm grateful for you. Always do that. Always do that. But that's the end of this podcast. Of course, I was rambling a whole bunch. I promise these will get better. Like when I get my own place, or when shoot, when I get some better equipment and I start getting my friends on here, bro. We were talking about everything. This just happens to be one of the personal ones, a lifestyle type podcast this time, bro. Because it's not gonna always be like this. I swear to God, I'll have conversations about games and stuff. But it was fun doing this. I hope y'all start coming around more. Uh, please listen. I'm already having a good time doing this. The last time I tried it was garbage, but I just want to thank y'all for coming through. If you have, and y'all have a good rest of the day.
Oi, matey. What? I says I. Huh? So, what do we have here?